My mother called it a family dinner. There were candles, there was jollof rice made from scratch. There was a man sitting in my father's chair who I had never seen in my life. I walked in wearing my oversized Arsenal jersey, fuzzy slippers, and a silk bonnet on my head because nobody told me we had company. Nobody, not one person. The man looked up at me. I looked at him. He looked back at his food immediately, like he was trying not to laugh. My mother smiled the smile she uses when she has done something terrible and is proud of it. Zara, this is Daniel Ose. His mother and I went to university together. I blinked. Okay, I said. Cool. Why is he in Papa's chair? Papa cleared his throat and said something about rivers finding their own level. Nobody understood it. Daniel coughed into his napkin. I pulled my bonnet off slowly, shook out my bantu knots, sat down across from this stranger, and decided right then I was going to make this the most uncomfortable dinner of his life. I failed because Daniel Ose ordered seconds of the jollof rice and complimented my mother's cooking so genuinely that she literally grabbed his hand. Who was this man, and why wasn't he scared of me? The next morning, my mother sat on my bed like she paid rent. She was in her favorite yellow Ankara wrapper, reading glasses on, holding a cup of tea she wasn't drinking. He has a good job, she started. Mama. His mother is a good woman. Mama. His teeth are very straight. Mama. She sipped her tea slowly. I sat up and stared at her. Apparently, Daniel and I had already been introduced without our knowledge for 6 months through family conversations. 6 months! They had exchanged our photos, our career details, our food preferences. Daniel apparently already knew I hated tomatoes on my burger. I didn't know his last name until last night. I told my mother this was illegal. She said love doesn't need a lawyer. I told her I wasn't in love. She smiled and said, not yet. I wanted to scream into a pillow, but my pillow was behind her and I didn't want to give her the satisfaction. That evening, Daniel texted me. I don't know how he got my number and I was afraid to ask. The text said, for the record, I also didn't know about this until 3 days ago. I'm just as confused as you. Also, I noticed you didn't eat the tomatoes. Same. I stared at my phone for 4 full minutes. Why did that stupid text make me smile? I agreed to meet him once. Just once, I told myself, just to be civil, just to tell him face to face that I wasn't interested in an arranged marriage like we were characters in a Bollywood film. He was already at the cafe when I arrived. Fitted black shirt, dark chinos, clean white loafers. He stood up when he saw me, and that alone almost broke my argument, because who does that anymore? I was wearing my caramel blazer, white tee, straight jeans and my Air Force Ones, hair in a high puff. I sat down. I was ready. I had a whole speech. Point 1, I am a modern woman. Point 2, I choose my own partner. Point 3, this is 2024, not 1804. I opened my mouth. He slid a coffee across the table. Oat milk latte, 1 sugar. My exact order. I closed my mouth. How did you... Your cousin Temi talks a lot, he said, completely calm. I looked at the coffee. I looked at him. I still have a speech, I told him. Go ahead, he said, leaning back, completely unbothered, like he had all the time in the world. Something about that made me forget point 2 entirely. And that was the beginning of my problem. Aunty Bisi found out about the coffee date. Of course she did. The woman has never in her life minded her business. She called 7 family members before I even got home, and by the time I walked through my phone door, my phone had 12 missed calls and my mother was video calling me from the kitchen downstairs. Aunty Bisi told everyone Daniel and I were deeply in love and had been secretly dating for months. She said she saw us holding hands. We were not holding hands. I was handing him back his pen after writing down a restaurant recommendation. By evening, someone had already made a WhatsApp group called Zara and Daniel Ring Prayer Hands. There were 34 members. I was not one of them. Daniel texted me, I have been added to a wedding planning group. There is already a color theme, burgundy and gold. I replied,
"I am so sorry." He sent back, "Don't be. I said the flowers should be white. I think I have good taste." I sat on my kitchen floor and laughed until my stomach hurt. Then I caught myself and stood up immediately. This man was dangerous because he was funny, and funny was my weakness.
Our families decided to have dinner together. Both sides, one table. Mama Adeyemi in her best purple Ankara, Papa with a proverb ready like a weapon, Aunty Bisi in a new wig that was slightly too big, Daniel's mother, Mrs. Osi, sharp and elegant in a navy blue dress, Daniel's younger brother who spent the whole time on his phone, and then Daniel, sitting directly across from me, completely calm as always. The dinner started fine. Then Aunty Bisi said, out loud, in front of everyone, "So, when are we doing the introduction? My schedule is free, a match." Dead silence. Daniel's brother dropped his fork. I felt my soul leave my body. I looked at Daniel. He looked at me. Then slowly, he reached across the table, picked up the pepper sauce, and calmly passed it to his mother, like nothing had happened. "This stew is good," he said. His mother smiled. My mother smiled. Aunty Bisi started talking about venues, and Daniel, without looking up, slid his phone across the table toward me with a note typed on it. "Breathe. You're okay. This is just pepper soup, not a contract." I breathed, but something in my chest had already signed something.
3 weeks later, I had the worst day of my professional life. I'm a graphic designer. I had a major client presentation, 6 weeks of work, and the file corrupted 2 hours before the meeting. I sat in my car in the parking lot and I just collapsed inward. I wasn't going to call my mother because she would panic. Not Aunty Bisi, obviously. Not my friends because they were all in a meeting. I called Daniel. I don't know why. He picked up on the second ring. I didn't even say hello. I just said, "My files are gone." He asked one question, "Where are you?" 40 minutes later, he was in that parking lot. He had his laptop, he sat in the passenger seat of my car, rolled up the sleeves of his grey shirt, and spent the next 90 minutes helping me rebuild key slides from scratch using old exported images I had on my email. We made the meeting. Barely, but we made it. Driving back, I asked him why he came. He shrugged. "You called." 3 words, and I knew right then I was in serious, serious trouble. It happened on a Tuesday, a completely ordinary Tuesday. We were on the rooftop of his apartment building because he wanted to show me the city view. I was wearing a cream co-ord set, gold hoops, hair out in a full twist out. He was in a white shirt with the top button open, dark trousers, loafers. We were talking about childhood, embarrassing stories. He told me he once cried at a Toy Story movie in a cinema and tried to blame allergies. I laughed so hard I grabbed his arm. He didn't move his arm away. We got quiet. City lights everywhere. He turned to look at me. I looked back. The distance between us became a question. Neither of us answered it in words. He leaned forward slightly. I did not lean back. His phone rang. It was Aunty Bisi. She had somehow gotten his number and was calling to ask if he preferred Nigerian or Ghanaian caterers for the future wedding. He answered. I walked to the edge of the roof and screamed silently into the night sky. Aunty Bisi had no idea what she had just interrupted. Or maybe she did. With that woman, you never know. We fought in week 8. Real fight. It started because his mother casually mentioned at a family brunch that Daniel had told her he saw a future with me. I panicked. Not because it was bad, because it terrified me. I pulled him aside and told him he had no right to say things like that when we hadn't even defined what we were. He stayed calm, which made me angrier. I said this whole thing was moving too fast. He said he hadn't rushed me once. I said my feelings weren't part of any arrangement. He stopped. Then quietly, family, he said, "Zara, I am not my mother's plan. What I feel is mine. Nobody arranged that." I didn't have a response. I left. I went home and I was furious and sad and confused all at once. My mother called. I didn't pick up. Papa called. He said, "A river doesn't apologize for being deep." I hung up. But at 11 p.m., I sat on my bathroom floor and replayed Daniel's words on a loop. What I feel is mine. And I realized I was not running from him. I was running from myself. I went back to him. No dramatic speech this time. I knocked on his door on a Saturday morning. He opened it in a grey sweatshirt and joggers.
reading glasses on, holding a book. I had never seen him in glasses before. It was unfair how good he looked. "Hi," I said. "Hi," he said. I was wrong, I told him. He opened the door wider and let me in. We sat on his couch, knees almost touching, and I told him the truth. I was scared of wanting something I didn't choose, because if it went wrong, I had nobody to blame but my own heart. He listened the whole time, no interrupting. Then he said, "You don't have to have chosen the beginning to choose what comes next." I looked at him for a long moment. "You are annoyingly wise," I said. "No," he replied, zero ego in it. I laughed. He smiled, that slow, quiet smile that I had catalogued without meaning to. I reached over and took his hand. He turned his palm up and held mine properly. No fanfare, no audience, just two people choosing. 6 months later, I stood in front of a mirror in a white off-shoulder gown, natural hair pinned up with loose coils falling around my face, gold earrings, bare feet because heels made me anxious. Aunty Bisi was crying in the corner, loudly, in a wig that was genuinely wonderful for once. Mama was adjusting my dress with shaking hands. Papa stood at the door and said, "The best shade is the tree you didn't know you are planting." For the first time, I understood him. Daniel was waiting outside in a fitted ivory suit, no tie, white shirt open at the collar, the same quiet confidence he'd walked in with the night I met him in a bonnet and fuzzy slippers. When I walked out, he looked at me the way people look at something they were afraid they'd never have. He leaned close and whispered, "You look better than the night we met." I whispered back, "I was wearing a bonnet." I know, still. We laughed. The officiant had to ask us to focus. Aunty Bisi wailed louder. I didn't care. I was standing next to my greatest love, a stranger who never felt like one, and for once in my life I was grateful I'd lost control of the plan. Moral lessons. 1. Control is not the same as love. Zara fought so hard to control her story that she almost missed the best chapter in it. 2. People show you who they are slowly. Daniel never announced himself. He just kept showing up, and that said everything. 3. Not everything chosen for you is wrong. The beginning of something doesn't determine its worth. How it grows does. 4. Running from feelings doesn't erase them. It just delays the moment you have to sit on a bathroom floor and be honest with yourself. 5. Love is a decision, not just an emotion. Zara and Daniel both chose each other. That choice mattered more than how they met. End of story. Thank you for watching. Subscribe and follow for more stories like this. Drop a comment. Would you accept an arranged marriage?